Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, we're making an apple tart tatin. We have not made this in over a decade. I haven't shared it with you, just sort of updating it. I feel like the video is so old, the quality was not quite that great. And it is the kind of dessert that just needs another shout out because number one, it's incredibly simple. It's very easy. You could pull it together for a last minute dessert, but it's also sort of fancy enough to make for like a holiday if you wanted to. It's simply sublime. It's kind of sort of like it's not really a pie. It doesn't have the flavor profile of a traditional apple pie. It is phenomenal, and I'm gonna walk you through it and show you how to make it. I can make this with my eyes shut. That's how easy it is to make. I'm gonna make this this is like a 10-inch skillet. Make sure that you're using a skillet that's nonstick and that can go right into the oven. So that's got a metal handle. If not, you can absolutely make your caramel apple situation and pour it in like a baking dish or a pie plate or anything like that, and then just put the pastry on and then bake it. You can definitely do that. I just do it this route because it's easy. And I feel like I've made this enough times that, like I said, I can do it with my eyes shut and everything kind of works in that pan. So it's not necessarily a designated pan to apple tart tatin, but I just know that it works really well. To it, I'm gonna add brown sugar and granulated sugar. And I'm going to add some water to it. And what I'm gonna do is let this cook and kind of come to a boil. I'm gonna let it come to a boil. And then the sugar sort of will start to caramelize and do really beautiful things. While that happens, I've got my oven preheated to 400. I have some apples here. I'm using Honeycrisp. They're my favorite apple to cook with. They're my favorite apple to eat. They're incredibly versatile. Mia loves them. They're fantastic. You can use something like a Granny Smith apple for this. Don't use anything that kind of turns into applesauce because kind of that would sort of defeat the purpose of what we're trying to do. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to peel the apples, obviously. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and cut them into some pretty thick slices, nothing too thin, otherwise it really will turn into applesauce, and you kind of want some of that texture and shape to remain, and I'll show you how I cut it. I just cut it along the sides. So here's your apple, like that, and I will cut the core out. And then this is sort of the size that you're looking for. So I just kind of round it, make it easy on myself. That looks perfect. I'm just gonna go ahead and add the butter. And I'm just gonna let this boil, kind of cook all together until the butter is fully dissolved and the color is like a lovely amber color. I'm just gonna go slice some more apples. That looks gorgeous. Go ahead and add your apples. At first, it'll look like they won't fit, but everything's gonna cook down for a while, and trust me, they will fit. Once the apples are in, this is gonna cook for like 10 minutes. As you can see, the apples are cold, so when you add them to the hot caramel, it starts to seize up a little bit. Do not panic. What's gonna start happening is the apples are gonna release some of their juice. They're gonna get really lovely and saucy and just dynamite and gorgeous. So just let it happen. I'm gonna just lower the heat a little bit because I don't wanna scorch anything. But aside from that, we are already looking like perfection, okay? There's no cinnamon in this apple tart tatin. It's sort of a classic French way of making a tart, right? It's really flaky puff pastry, a simple apple caramel situation served with vanilla ice cream. Tell me how that is anything other than glorious. I have no idea. This is one of Papa Sal's favorite apple desserts. Admittedly, Papa Sal does not like cinnamon. You want to destroy the man? You make him a pie with cinnamon. He does not like cinnamon. He does not like pumpkin. He's very, very picky, but this he loves. So keep that in mind. If you've got a very, very fussy Papa Sal in your hands that doesn't like cinnamon, he would love this. All right, so I've got a piece here, a sheet of puff pastry. This is just store-bought puff pastry from the frozen section. You make sure you let it thaw out in the fridge, and it's ready to go. Just have to roll it out a little bit. The apple mixture is done. You see they've cooked down quite a bit. They fit perfectly in my pan. I'm gonna turn that off. My oven is nicely preheated, and all I'm doing right now is just basically rolling out the puff pastry just a little bit larger so that it kind of fits into my pan really perfectly, about an inch or so bigger on all sides. Shake off any excess, and then watch. You just lay that on top, lay that on top. I do go ahead and just snip the corners, and then I'll tuck everything in, and I'll show you what I do once I'm there. And then very carefully, because you don't want your fingers to touch the caramel, you just sort of tuck everything down, just like that. And now I'm gonna go ahead and pop this into my oven for around a half an hour or until it's really, really golden brown. And then we'll let it sit for like 20 minutes or so before we invert it, but I'll show you what it looks like when it's there. All right, this baby came out of the oven a little less than 10 minutes ago. I don't want it to let it set too long, otherwise it'll have a hard time taking it out. So between 5 and 10 minutes is all you really need. I meant to say 375, not 400 for your oven. And do take a knife and just poke it on the top of the pie crust just a little bit so that it doesn't puff up too much. Once it's sat for a bit, make sure you get a plate that's just big enough to kind of hold it all together. This is actually not the best plate for this, but it should. Hold on. Let's see. Oh yeah. There she is. Wow. Would you look at that? That's making my mouth salivate. Look at that gorgeous color. Someone said when I posted a reels of this, someone said somehow your apples turned into peaches, which I thought was very funny. Let me go grab some powdered sugar because it just needs it around the edges. Hold on. Just around the edges a little bit, and you absolutely must serve this with some ice cream. It's kind of like if you don't, it's not complete. I'm gonna be honest with you. You gotta serve it with some ice cream. Oh, that looks gorgeous. Do keep an eye on your oven now, because depending on how hot your oven gets, it will take a little less time to cook. And if your oven's really hot, it could end up scorching things. So just keep an eye on it. Can I cut this thing today, or am I just... It's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. Very much worthy of a pre-dinner snack, if I do say so myself. Hot. But that is the epitome of absolute perfection. Nothing better. It really is very hard to beat, especially when I serve it with ice cream tonight. Ooh! Go to laurainthekitchen.com for the written recipe. I hope you've enjoyed spending time with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.